All right, it's rumor season, which means we're going to bring in one of my favorite people to probably stir the pot, but also clarify a few things. LaNorris Sellers in Miami, people hitting the portal, which coaches are going to land where. We talk about all of it. Locked on Gamecock starts right now.
You are Locked on Gamecocks, your daily podcast on the South Carolina Gamecocks, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Locked on Gamecocks. I'm your host, Chris Marler. Hope everyone's having a fantastic Friday live edition that we decided to do last minute. We got a guy doing boxing punches in the background here in the green room, if you will. Mike Bratton is going to join us. Hope everyone, like I said, is ready to get the weekend started. It's a bye week for Carolina. So we're going to talk some more big picture stuff and some SEC stuff as well with Mike. And then afterwards, I'm going to go shave this ratty-ass beard, and we're going to have ourselves a great start to the weekend. Before I bring Mike in here, I want to say thanks to everyone making Locked on Gamecocks your first listen each and every day. Shout out to our everydayers. Remember, guys, free and available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. Jerome S17 says, Friday, baby, cannot wait. Drop your comments, any questions you have for Mike or me in the what do you call it as well in the chats. Can't lose this week. That's a very good point. Mike, how the hell are you, brother?
Yeah, David, you stole my joke. I was going to say the Gamecocks hate losing Saturday. How about that? I went down to Walmart last night. Guess who was the door greeter was?
Say it's Mike Shula.
Mike Shula, come on.
That's great. Is he just forcing everyone as they enter the building to run inside draw on 2nd and 9?
Yeah. It's just a disaster over there. You know what?
We have 5 people walking in. All right, one of you go deep, the other one run about a 10-yard portal, and everyone go to this side of the field or this side of the store. I love it. All right, listen. So this came out yesterday, and I want to get your opinion.
You came out?
Yeah, I did. So here we go. PG show, Mike. I'm gonna lose my train of thought. So this came out yesterday. I wanted to get your thought on it. There's a lot of people talking about it. I don't think it's anything that's that crazy. The topics we're going to talk about today: LaNorris Sellers rumors, portal season rumors coming up, because I think that's going to be a massive portal year. The USC offensive coordinator position, a little bit about next week at A&M, and some SEC coaching carousel stuff. So we got a jam-packed show. Let's start with LaNorris, man. Todd McShay brought this up yesterday, and Todd McShay, I thought about this afterwards. I don't feel like he necessarily has his finger on the pulse of a lot of things college football related. I do think he's a great NFL draft guy and does a tremendous job on TV and whatever else. I don't feel like he necessarily has his finger on the pulse of the ins and outs of what's going on inside the buildings around the SEC or college football. But he did make a comment from the draft perspective, which was LaNorris Sellers should probably come back, and there's people in his camp that think he will. And if he does, he would potentially leave South Carolina and go to a place like Miami. Cut off the part about Miami. The thought of LaNorris coming back to school, do you think that's a right move or a wrong move?
Yeah, I mean, I don't follow the draft or anything that closely, so I will add that. And if you Google Todd McShay, Paul Feinbaum, I would vehemently disagree with everything he says about Paul Feinbaum. So I don't even, to your point, I don't know how much this McShay knows, but yeah, I would imagine it would be in LaNorris Sellers' best interest to get another year of college football before going to the NFL. But I can't blame him if he gets back. You're a first round grade or what have you. That may be an opportunity that's too much to pass up. But I would love to see him in college football and even at South Carolina for another year. But we really got to make sure we surround him with, I think, better talent, obviously, and an offensive coordinator that could actually utilize his talents.
Yeah, I think I want to clarify the McShay thing too, because it's obviously he knows a lot about football in general. I think if you turn on tape and you're like, hey, break this down for me. What do you think about this? What do you think about this person from a different, whether it's a specific position or across the board? I trust that part of his knowledge. My whole point is also if you asked me to have Pete Nakos break down X's and O's, I probably would trust Todd McShay more than Pete Nakos. I would also look at Pete Nakos and say, hey, if you have any inside information about what's going on here, I would trust that a lot more. I want to get into all the stuff with the OC, so drop some of those comments in the chat as well. I think you're right. I thought about this week as well. The dangers of bringing Sellers back and then putting a offensive coordinator specifically catered or suited to his skill set. What are your thoughts on that? Because I don't think somebody says don't shave your beard. I was going to do it today. But like, what are your thoughts on that? Because I don't think you need to be short-sighted and say we have to get a guy that knows how to exploit a defense with this specific type of quarterback. I think that's a bad idea. But also, like, if he comes back, it has to be a selling point.
Right. I mean, and I'm not one of these fire Beamer guys, right? I think that's kind of ridiculous. I think South Carolina, obviously just had a bad year, but they a lot of momentum coming into the year, and last year proves, I think, what a good coach Beamer is, as do other seasons. But it's a lot bigger than Sellers. To your point, you can't just make a hire to appease a quarterback that, for all we know, they hire a coordinator that Sellers likes, and then a week later, like you said, Miami offers him $6 million. He's like, you know what? I got to go to Miami. You know what I mean? Right. So then we just hired someone for someone that's not even here. Beamer's got to make us right hire to ensure that he's in Columbia for years to come. So this is just a massive hire. I certainly don't hire someone just to appease Sellers. I think that's foolish. But hey, this is the SEC, and if we do have Sellers on board next year, I think that makes this job just incredibly attractive to literally every offensive coordinator candidate out there.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't want to work with LaNorris Sellers? If they don't, then I question, how much they really want to be an offensive play caller, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, I think it's fair. I think it's a fair point. I like this point that's made here. And also thank you to South Kakalaki for the $4.99. And the boom.
Do I get some of that?
In the super chat. I don't think I get any of it, but I mean, I appreciate it. Nonetheless, we just need to go independent here. Don't clip that. I truly feel that LaNorris is too good to put up with this lousy offensive line, and the fact that you had a failed OC, the last 3 games of the year will tell the tale if he comes back. I don't think that's a bad point. I think, like, I tell you what I would like to see. This sounds so stupid and cliche and like high school Harry Bulls crap, like my coach would say in college. But I also would love to go see this kid go have fun for 3 games. Like I would love to see him go out there and not feel pressed, not feel like frustrated. If you're frustrated because you made a bad read or the defense isn't giving you what you thought they were giving you, whatever, things that happen in a game, I'm fine with that. I just would love to see this kid go out and for 60 minutes be able to play like loose and free with the offense following suit and not feel so about like every play call that Shula was making for the year. Right.
And this isn't 5-10 years ago, Chris. I mean, you can turn things around immediately in an off season. Tennessee, I'm a Tennessee grad. They were hot garbage on offense last year, aside from a really good running game. And now, well, they don't have a defense anymore, but the offense is phenomenal. Oklahoma, another example. I mean, they were abysmal on offense. Not that they're world beaters this year, but they are significantly better. I mean, it can be flipped in an offseason. You add the right piece, you add the right coordinator, and that's something I think that's lost, Chris, and all this coaching carousel madness. We all get enamored with like who's going to Auburn, who's going to LSU. But there's so many really good coordinators that are out there now because of this mess. And one that I really like is the Penn State offensive coordinator. He's had a lot of success. I think his system, I don't know if he's got literally any connection to Beamer, but if they can get a guy like that, I think that he was at, I believe, Kansas before when they were really good.
Yeah.
I think a guy like that could really get the most out of LaNorris Sellers.
And that's a position that's going to come up, and that's a perfect segue into what I want to talk about next. We got to pay some bills real quick. I'm gonna take Mike out of here and have him make faces in the background when I try to read this ad read. We're gonna talk about that more next. I want to talk about what specifically they need to get out of the portal or what they need to go after and how you would attack this offseason. And nobody better to do that than with SEC Mike. Before I do that, I want to tell you about my favorite thing besides my buddy SEC Mike, and that is DoorDash. This is actually, again, an ad read. I tell you guys every week that I really do get behind. It's almost the weekend, and I think this is one of the best ongoing recurring segments or promotions all year. It's time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. Again, guys, you order DoorDash on Saturdays if you want Wingstop, you want to get something from Buffalo Wild Wings, you want to get something from Taco Mac or whatever else around wherever you live, whether it's in Columbia, Lexington, or even Atlanta like I was. Make sure you're using DoorDash for your game day food. These players delivered this past weekend when it mattered most. Let's break it down. Now, listen, there's not a ton of players that I felt like delivered a ton this past week, but I do have to say that secondary as a whole for South Carolina did really, really well. And so they all 4 or 5 or however many played will get my player of the week. They delivered in a big way. I tell you what, Trinidad Chambliss came into that game against South Carolina with a minimum of 250 yards passing in every game he had played so far, and he was held to 159 yards on 57.1% completion percentage. Hats off to the entire secondary for having a phenomenal game. And I tell you what, just like they delivered, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday you order, stack it up all season long, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday, keep the streak alive, fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply, and the promo ends on November 18th. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Locked On Gamecocks right after this. All right, we're back. What are you laughing at, Mike?
Read the chat.
Perfect. Thanks, Mike. Did I tip? I do. Listen, I worked in the service industry for about 10 years, and I am a big over tipper. I think the minimum I usually spend is 20%. Sometimes it'll piss me off if there's bad service. I'm also sometimes very insufferable. Ali gets very frustrated. We'll go out to eat sometimes, and I'll be very frustrated because it's like the water should be here by now. They should have greeted to the table. This should have happened. And I'm like constantly looking around. And it's just like, that's what I wanted to do if I didn't go into this was restaurant management.
Well, the way I always look at it, Chris, is like you just never know what the other person's going through.
Very true. Very true. That's a good point. Yeah, I like that. That's good. All right. Let's get back into what you were talking about with the portal. And one of the things you brought up, I love what you said about the OCs, because I've been saying this for a while. Like some of the stuff that we talk about, like even with coaches like Saban or Kirby, where it's like, man, they're the best coaches in the country, or Saban's like the GOAT and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you have to look at Saban during some of those years, and it's like you had Kirby Smart and Lane Kiffin as your coordinators. You had Steve Sarkisian as a coordinator. Like you had
all a bad one.
I hate when you do this. And they had some of these guys that were like they're not just good head coaches, but like some of the best head coaches in the country were your assistants on your staff. I don't think Beamer needs a coaching tree like that, but I do think there is something to be said for going out and finding a coordinator and having that be as big of a catalyst for wins. And it almost doesn't prop up the coaches necessarily, but it also kind of does. Like Clayton White, like where would this team be if Clayton White wasn't so good on the defensive side of the ball? Like Beamer probably wouldn't have a job if Clayton White's defense wasn't so good already. Let's see, you're a little itch when it comes to being the customer. I mean, that's aggressive, but yeah. What do you think? Are there any names besides the Penn State guy? Because I think that's a situation where you brought up. I don't know if he has any relation to Beamer. I don't need him to. Like I don't need there to be a relationship like already in place. I think this is a make or break year for Beamer, and he has to go find the best name and the best fit to take this offense in a forward progress for next year.
Well, I'll tell you who it won't be, Chris. It won't be Mike Loxley.
That is not going to
happen. Yeah, but I would also think, aside from Sellers, if he's there or if he's not, obviously prefer him to be there. But when it comes to attracting an offensive coordinator, I think working under Shane Beamer is highly attractive for the fact that he does not strike me, and based on everything I've heard, he's not a guy that's going to meddle. Like he lets Clayton White run the defense. He's going to let the offensive coordinator run the offense. So there's a lot of these coaches that won't, So I think that is something to consider. But as far as candidates, what happens here, Chris, if old Brent Key lands a head coaching job somewhere else, does he take Buster Faulkner? Does Buster Faulkner become the Georgia Tech head coach? I don't know. And maybe just because Brent Key takes, let's say, the Auburn job, which I'm not saying he will, but let's go with me here. Let's say something like that happens. Does that automatically mean Buster Faulkner wants to go to Auburn? I don't think so. So, a guy like that, I think would be whatever the heck he wants.
Yeah,
I would pay him.
I would pay Buster Faulkner over $2 million to come right now. Now, I will tell you, I had this conversation the other day. This is going to be the most like 1990s radio imaginable, or 2000s radio. I talked to Buster's cousin. We went to the same high school. And I mean, Buster's cousin actually hosts Locked On Vandy, Corey Burton. And him and I had a conversation about this. And he said, Buster's not looking to go anywhere necessarily. Not saying he wouldn't, but also like he's not looking to go anywhere. Brent Key, as of last night, is working out, finalizing a deal with Georgia Tech and getting an extension, all this other stuff. And that's where he wants to be. That's the weird thing about this cycle, Mike, is that like you have some names that keep popping up. Brent Key, Kenny Dillingham, Jeff Brom, where they are consistent names on every single hot board for a coach, but they're also at current places where they all played. And that's a tough uphill battle to fight if you're trying to suit or what do you call it, pursue those guys. So Faulkner, according to Corey, he does want to be a head coach. I don't know if he would consider this a lateral move or what. I don't know if he would be in a position to do that. I do know that like I like what somebody said about going to get more money for Clayton White. I have no insight on this at all about Dylan Stewart. I could easily see that being a guy that goes and gets paid somewhere else. Because someone is going to offer him a crap ton of money, and I could see him leaving. I don't have any insight that says he would, and he already has a very good deal in place here. He's making $1.5 million. He set the market for defensive ends and edge rushers in college football last year with what they're paying, which was more than anyone else. Would you see Miami try to replace Reuben Bain with a guy like that is and pay him $3-4 million? I don't know. I will also tell you this. I think right now, South Carolina, I believe, has 16 or 15 total recruits in this class. They're hoping to add more, I'm sure, from the high school ranks going into the end of the season. Could you see them with a top 20 high school class and a 5-star and I think 8 other 4-stars? So you have a really good blue chip ratio. You got a lot of good talent coming in. This could easily be a situation where you don't need to go fill 20 to 25 players in the high school ranks, and you need to win now. So whatever you were going to go get there from a roster standpoint or a spending standpoint, it needs to be done in the portal.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, yes, but it really comes down to how much money you've got to spend.
True.
When we're talking portal specifically. So that will be critical there. And I don't know what that answer is, but while you were kind of rambling there, I had a I had a thought. How about this? Let me know if you would be on board with this. What do you think about Charlie Weiss Jr. as offensive coordinator? South Carolina just faced him. Of course, he's Ole Miss offensive coordinator. And you may say, well, why would he leave Ole Miss to come to Carolina for the same position? Because I think as long as he's working under Kiffin, I think he's going to get the stigma of, well, this is just Kiffin's offense.
Yeah.
And to my knowledge, Charlie Weiss has been calling the plays for 2 years at Ole Miss. And he's the guy that found Trinidad Chambliss. So, a guy like that who likely has head coaching aspirations, maybe you go get him, if that makes sense, to kind of prove, so he can just run the show by himself.
Yeah.
That's a name that I would look at. And then another one that I think is emerging is Alex Mortensen. He's currently UAB interim head coach, who they've looked a lot better since they fired Trent Dilfer and made him interim. I think he's a name to watch. He coached under Nick Saban as well, so I think that's going to be a very popular name this offseason.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think it'll be interesting. I think that I've been big on Jordan Davis, but there's also people that have said as the OC at North Texas, he's not the one calling the plays, and the head coach is. I think you need to make a splash hire. I think the biggest thing, and this is not something that I
like that your audience treats you the same way my audience does.
Yeah, it's deserving. I appreciate that, Shanzi, when I'm rambling. But at least we have a guest to break it up. This usually it's just me on here for 30 minutes. I appreciate you guys. No, and I want to also go back to this for a second. Everyone's saying that Dylan Stewart is important too. I agree. I think he is important. I think you have to figure out a way. If you can keep him, keep him. I also think, if we're being honest, like, let me look up his numbers real quick, because as good as he is a legitimate top 10 NFL draft talent, I think, for next year's class. Like Jeremiah Smith will go number 1. I think he's a top 10 talent. But my question would be, especially if you're trying to like manage a roster financially, which is what this day and age of college football has become, is he putting up numbers that are good enough for you to say we have to go spend an egregious amount of money on him? He has 11 tackles for loss. He has 3.5 sacks on the year through 9 games. So you're telling me, like again, I think he's one of the most talented players in the country, but are you going to, and he probably wants and would deserve and like be in the market for more money. Are you willing to pay more money if that's the production you got when you need so many other things?
No, I hear you, and I think that's a fair question. But if you're just looking at statistical breakdown, no, I don't think he is worth it. But particularly on defense, players' values is much more than their own statistical production.
Yeah,
it's every offense having to scheme Dylan Stewart. It's the players around him getting more favorable one-on-one matchups because we're having to double and triple Dylan Stewart. So there's so much more that goes into it than just a statistical breakdown. And again, there's got to be a limit. That's why you got to have a really good GM, I think. And some programs do it. Georgia doesn't have a GM, and so maybe that just went counter to my point. But I think you really do got to have a good GM, particularly if you're a program like Carolina, where you got to understand the value of what certain positions, what is a limit to what they're asking and what they produce. I think that is critical.
The other part of it too is the perception becoming reality part of this whole NIL era, Mike, where it's like you think like the worst thing that could happen to some coaches, especially one that's with Beamer, who is, listen, like that leash is not long anymore, and he is going into next season with a situation where he is in. Okay, Allie told me to keep it down a little bit. She's been really fun at being involved in the show when I haven't asked her to the past couple days. Oh, she has a meeting too. My bad. Work from home life over here. No, so I think that it's interesting now because like what you can't have happen if you're South Carolina in a year like this where the optics would be horrible if this happened. What if he goes somewhere else and then puts up 12 sacks and then it's like, what do you do here?
Yeah, I mean that would be an awful look for sure.
All right, let's take a quick break. I'll give you a break so you can think about other stuff and talk crap about me in the chat. And then we'll pay some bills real quick.
That's literally what I'm doing.
Mute yourself. Be quiet. So, real quick, I want to talk to you about our friends, guys, at Supply House. You guys heard me talk about them yesterday, and we're going to do it again. And if you are a business owner and you are trying to put together some projects, you cannot afford to have any situation where the parts aren't there or you're not able to get stuff done in a timely fashion. That's where Supply House comes in, and they do it better than anyone else. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Join the free Trademaster program today. Score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and dedicated support lines. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use the promo code SHCollege5. That's SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. We'll be back and closing out today's show of Locked On Gamecocks. Brunch with Bratton. Final segment coming up. All right. I don't know if I regret this, but let's bring him back in here. What are you saying in the comments here now? Yeah, keep it down, guys.
They would love to see Allie do an episode. They said.
Allie did this job long before I did. She's famous on Twitter. She has like 25,000 followers, and she did this for Auburn a long time ago. So there you go. All right, let's close up today's show. I do want to talk a little bit about the SEC. I want to get a quick prediction on some coaching stuff. Appreciate you coming on as always, and then maybe we'll pick some games here as well. I know it's not South Carolina related, but we have Mike on, and nobody covers SEC better than Mike. So I'm going to give you a school. You tell me a prediction of who you think their next coach is. If you got a hot take on one that we're not talking about, I want you to drop that as well. School number 1, Florida.
Lane Kiffin.
Really?
I thought there was a rapid fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's not Kiffin, it'll be Drink. How about that?
Yeah, I can see that. LSU.
Lincoln Riley.
I've heard that Lincoln Riley is Florida. That's what I've been hearing for like a week or so, and then Pate finally said it, so then I felt comfortable. Like, yeah, we can maybe this is real, but I don't know because anyway, rapid fire. I don't know what that means. Auburn.
John Summerall.
I think that's a good pick, and then Arkansas.
Give me Alex Golish.
Why is he not getting more talk? By the way.
Probably because he's from Russia. They're our enemies. You know it. It's true. He's born in Moscow.
Is he really?
He's a plant.
He can't come in here and coach in these American teams. Not with Stranger Things 5 coming out. I'm so fired up for Stranger Things 5. All right, let's go a quick little wrap around or whip around or whatever you want to call it. Whip it out for the SEC this weekend. If you guys have a question for SEC Mike, this is the last part of the show, so throw them in there in the chat. We'll answer them and get him on his merry way. Let me ask you first and foremost, most important question of the weekend. What are you drinking for games this weekend?
Same thing I'm always drinking. Some Tennessee Legend. Yeah.
King Snake. That guy is a South Carolina fan, though.
I know it. Shout out Brian. He's a good guy.
Hold it up again real quick. Let's give him some free pub. Yeah. King Snake. Is it Tennessee whiskey?
Tennessee. Yes, sir. They got distilleries in Gatlinburg, Sevierville, and Nashville.
Love it. Love it. I don't know if I'm allowed to drink. I had to go to the hospital on Wednesday. I didn't tell you about this.
Oh. I guess the poison worked.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm allowed to drink. But Allie did say, she was like, "You're allowed to have a one cheat day a week from now on." I was like, "I'll probably do it Saturday." She's like, "What do you want your cheat meal to be?" And I was like, "Fireball, probably." I don't know. Okay. Don't want to talk about Ole Miss. Give me a pick for Auburn and Vanderbilt.
I like Vanderbilt. Maybe if Auburn had 2 weeks to prepare, they could add some wrinkles on offense. But I just realistically, I don't think you could reboot the offense in less than a week, like they're kind of being asked to do here. Especially
with a defensive-minded coach.
Right.
We got a question here from the audience: Bama or Georgia win it all?
Bama.
But then he said Ole Miss. I kind of like Ole Miss more than any of them.
Ooh.
Okay. Next question. Game. Florida, Kentucky's a weird one. I saw this the other day looking at some odd lines. Florida has lost 4 games to Kentucky in the last 39 years. And they've lost 3 of those 4 games have all come in the last 4 years. Like, they've only won 4 in the last 40, but 3 of the 4 have come in the last 4 years. Who do you have in that game in Lexington?
Stoops owns the Gators, Chris. After losing, I think, 8 in a row. I like Kentucky. Now, I don't feel very confident about that, but both these teams are really banged up. Florida, especially at receiver. It's going to be a cold weather game. I like both these teams on the line of scrimmage at running back. So it should be relatively low scoring. To me, it's which quarterback shows up because DJ Lagway's been all over the map. Yeah. I like what I've seen from Cutter Boley, but last week he was awful. But against Texas and Tennessee, he was awesome. So I don't know which Cutter Boley shows up, but give me Kentucky. But like I said, I'm not super confident about it.
Has has Zach Calzada's TikTok video from yesterday given you full face? Like Cutter Boley will never lose that starting job now, right?
Oh, I mean, he never was. But again, that just goes to show you what in the world were they thinking?
Yeah.
With not only getting that guy, but starting him over Cutter Boley. You go back to last year, Cutter Boley, he had to play in a tough spot.
At Louisville.
Not only that, but Texas, and he looked fairly good to a playoff team. And then they had Zach Calzada, he's just horrible. And they even said all offseason they really liked what they saw from Cutter Boley. So it's like, so why are you bringing in this other guy? I mean, it just makes no sense.
The sliding doors of that whole thing of like him being an incarnate word where he was the player of the year in that conference, could have probably put up incredible numbers there for another year, gone to the NFL draft and been like, well, you didn't play against great competition, but look at these numbers and this is where Cam Ward played, blah, 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 blah. Him going to Kentucky, losing the starting job to basically a true freshman, even though he's a redshirt freshman, and then sitting there and putting a video out of him counting his money. Insane behavior.
I just figured it out, Chris. I don't know how many games he played this year, but I think only 4. Maybe he redshirts and he's Carolina's quarterback next year.
I think this is year 7. I think he's a 2018 or 2019 recruit.
Give him one more.
Okay, we got 2 more before we get to. Or I guess we had 3 more. Mizzou. We got a Mizzou fan in here. It says MIZ. Listen, you're Muffet Carolina fans. My best friend is a Mizzou fan. ZOU. Pulling for them this weekend. Who do you have in Mizzou, Texas A&M?
I like Missouri, believe it or not, to pull the upset. Playoff hopes on the line. I think A&M's getting their rear kissed for the last couple weeks. I think maybe they'll start buying into they're upset. They're number 3 in the playoff committee. You know what I mean? Which I do agree that I think they've been the most impressive team. Well, I mean, you could argue Bama too, but it's Bama and A&M, I think, by a wide margin in the SEC up to this point. But I don't know. Now, I think it's an upset. If they play 10 times, give me A&M probably 8 of them. But I think some flukiness will happen, some turnovers, some penalties. Give me Missouri. I think they shock the world.
I love the fact that they got Zollers is a good quarterback for one. Zollers, other Bills, y'all, and then they get a week off. I know A&M does too, but you get a week off with Drink and going into a situation with what he's going to be facing. And it's not like A&M has a great defense this year, so I'm kind of with you on that. I like that. I like them to at least cover the 7.5. Somebody asked us in the chat, so we can talk about this as well. I kind of want to save it for last because it's the only big game, but we can talk about it now. What's the safer bet? Bama LSU over or money line or spread? You want me to start?
Yes.
I mean, the money line is the safe bet. I don't think Bama is going to win by 9.5 points. It's like just being around this LSU people and program down here, there's a lot of renewed energy. I kept saying this over and over again, and I will say it again, that I'll ramble, Mike. It's what I do best. Is that LSU, when they started the year, they were ranked 9th in the preseason, and I kept saying, I don't know if there's 8 teams that are better than them. Like, I don't know if that's the case from how good they are. I know for a fact that there are not 8 rosters more talented than LSU. They still have a very talented roster. There are some matchups that I think they can take advantage of because where they're bad at running the football, Alabama's bad at stopping the run. Where they're bad at on the offensive line, especially at left tackle, Bama is ranked 14th in the SEC and 91st in the country in sacks. And then what Bama's really good at, throwing the ball, that's into the teeth of what LSU's strength is. I think the game's a lot closer than people think. I don't know what the over is, though. That's interesting. I thought one of my best bets for the week was Bama under 31.5 points.
Yeah, the over-under is 49.5. So I kind of like them both. I like the under, and I'm right there with you. I hate to agree with you, which means we'll be wrong. But I like LSU and the points. I like Bama to win it. I think this is the game that, you just don't even suit up and go to LSU if you don't hate Alabama. So
yeah, agreed.
If they don't show up for this one, and heck, I think you've made this point many times, for whatever reason, LSU seems to play Bama better in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, they've lost. I think they've won. Bama's lost 6 times at LSU since 1957. 6 times since the Eisenhower administration. So you can't really bring that up here around Baton Rouge. People don't like it. I'll tell you that. Okay, 2 more games. This one's interesting to me too, Mike. Georgia and Mississippi State, and they're on the road to Mississippi State. It took
a minute.
The line has moved from 7.5 to 9.5, and like all over.
The drugs just kicked in.
But I do think that one of the things that's interesting about this game is I looked this up yesterday on Action Network, Mike, and everyone is on the side of Mississippi State. So much of the fact that 3% of the total money on this game is on Georgia. That's it. 97% of the money is on Mississippi State.
Wow. I didn't realize I shifted it that much, but I can sum up who wins this game pretty easily.
There's no way.
Give me them dogs from Starkville.
There you go. That's better. And what's the last game I'm missing?
You are missing. Let's see.
I think that's it. There's only 5.
Oh, yeah. That's it.
All right. Give me a bold prediction for the weekend. We'll get you out of here, brother.
Wait. Citadel, Ole Miss.
That line is 54.5.
Give me the 54.5. They run the triple option. Lock of the week right there.
Citadel is like, they've played some people. Remember they were tied with Bama like 10-10 at the half a couple years ago?
Oh, Saban remembers it well. He's still upset.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Mike, give me one bold prediction. Tell everyone where they can find you. This was a lot of fun. We should just do this at 10 a.m. on Fridays from now on.
Wait, you need a bold prediction?
Yeah.
I told you Missouri's winning. I told you Mississippi State's winning.
Yeah, but I want one where you're not pussyfooting around, Mike. Give me a bold prediction. Antonio Brown gets arrested for murder.
Well, Shane and I are going to do the woo Aggie thingy. If A&M wins, we're going to do it up on that SEC podcast Sunday night. So stay locked in. Maybe that's a reason to root for A&M to make us look like the complete fools we are. We're going to do the song and dance.
You're going to do this whole whoop.
Whatever they say.
Guy going, hump mags. The video of that guy doing the happy birthday kip is the funniest thing I've ever seen. All right. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate you doing the show. I appreciate you guys watching. We'll do it again next Friday. We'll just do this live moving forward. Mike, anything else you got to say?
Nope.
All right, I got to pee. We'll do this later. Bye.